the fallout from the violent pro-Palestinian protest out at the headquarters of the Democratic National Committee. It happened last night. U.S. Capitol Police say 6 officers were injured in those protests, and now that is raising fears of even further violence. It comes amid increasing fears that extremists could use these protests as cover for large-scale attacks. We've got our very own Tom Fitzgerald live at the DNC at this hour. So, Fitz, bring us up to speed. What are police telling you about those protests last night?
Well, good afternoon, Jacqueline. The chief of the U.S. Capitol Police, Thomas Manger, put out a statement today after that melee last night here at the Democratic National Committee. A pro-Palestinian group, 200 strong, tried to block the entrance of the Democratic National Committee. They were met with members of the U.S. Capitol Police Department. Chief Manger reports today that half a dozen police officers were injured in all of this. Protesters punching some of those police officers in the face. Now, this is not the first time that we have seen protests by pro-Palestinian supporters, break down into melees. You'll remember it was just a couple of weeks ago that there were members of a protest group which actually took over the rotunda of the Cannon House office building. They had to be removed, and there were officers injured in that as well. We should note here, that they had a protest on the National Mall just this week with hundreds of thousands of people protesting on behalf of Israel. That apparently went without what is he trying to say here? Incident. Because the D.C. police officer took the extraordinary move of actually putting out a statement noting that they had no incidents during the pro-Israeli demonstration earlier in this week. So there is clearly, a very clear separation between what's going on these protests that are in support of Israel and what has been going on with these protests that have been in support of the Palestinians, which often, have denigrated into these fights and these out-of-control scenes that we've seen over recent weeks.
Hey, Tom, here in D.C., we are super sensitive about when things like this happen and what that means for the international, everybody viewing. What does this mean now for the threat level? Does the terrorist threat level go up because of something like this?
It's an important question at this moment right now, because remember, the United States, is actively supporting the government of Israel as it tries to deal with this war that was brought onto it by the Hamas terrorists. That automatically has now triggered a response from groups like Hamas, groups like Hezbollah, and even Al-Qaeda, which launched the 9/11 attacks more than 2 decades ago. Both the director of the FBI and the secretary of the Homeland Security Department were up here on Capitol Hill just yesterday testifying to the House Homeland Security Committee that there is an elevated threat right now. There have been several investigations already launched into individuals who have connections with Hamas. And to cut to the chase, the concern is this, that either organized foreign terrorist groups would try to launch attacks here in the United States, or whether or not the global situation right now going on with the United States and Israel would inspire one of these so-called lone wolf actors to use these events as an excuse to launch attacks. One of the things that they're tracking right now is whether or not one of these individuals could possibly try to infiltrate any of these protest groups that we've seen around D.C. in the last couple of weeks, use that as larger cover to enact some type of attack on a larger group of people.
All right, Tom Fitzgerald there for us. Really a concerning time. We know he'll keep a close eye on it for us there from Capitol Hill.
Ever since 9/11, anytime anything pops off in our city, like the level goes up and then everybody gets on alert. So
yeah, something you have to keep a close eye on.